welcome back to a Ryan's Outdoor Media tutorial. I'm Aiden, and today we're going to be looking at how to add products to a WooCommerce shop. Now, in this video specifically, we're going to be looking at how to add both simple and variable products, as these are some of the most commonly used types of products within WooCommerce. So, to start, we should already have WooCommerce pre-installed on our site. And with that notion in mind, we can go ahead and get started. So on the left-hand side with our dashboard here, you should see both the WooCommerce tab and some of its sub-tabs here that go along with it. Now to start, we can click on the Products tab here, and we will come to this page. Now you don't necessarily have to come to this page. You can simply hover over it and click Add New Product. So once we get to this page, we have quite a lot of information here and a lot of different inputs that we should be aware of. So to start off simple, let's go ahead and look here. So we have our product name. So when we're creating a product, we obviously need to have a name for the product to display what we're selling. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be doing an example of a hiking shoe. So we'll just do hiking shoe 1. Obviously the names don't have to have numbers in them, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be doing a very example-like name here. So we also have our product description and our short product description. Now, short product description goes above where you'll see the total price of the product. It'll go right next to it. And it isn't necessarily needed, but it is helpful to display additional supplementary information with your product to allow your customers to know what you're selling. So here in the product description, I am going to already put some pre-filled out information that I have right in there. So I just have a couple different aspects here of the product that I can go ahead and paste in here. You're welcome to type them in, and you're also welcome to put this into bullet lists. We have a bunch of different formatting options here, such as bolding, italicizing the text here. We can align where we want that text to be, what we want it to look like. We can go ahead and put it in quotations. You can number it, or you can bullet it. If you want to bullet it, you can go ahead and do that. You just kind of do it like this. It ultimately depends on how you want to display your product. It isn't necessary to have it in a particular format, but to display all the options, that is what you can do. Let's also go ahead and add a short product description in here, just so that we can exemplify what that would look like if you were to use it. It's not necessary to use it, but as I said, it is supplementary and does help with conveying what you're selling. Now, on the right here, we have a bunch of other different aspects, like our status. We know that this product is a draft right now. It's not published. It is public, and we have not published it quite yet. We also have the product image and the product gallery, so you can add a product gallery if you have multiple images of this product that you'd like to display. We also have the product image, which is the main product image of what you are selling. So I have a quick little example image here. We can add captions or descriptions, but for this purpose, I'm not going to do that. Let's just go ahead and do hiking shoe 1 for the title here. So we can go ahead and add that image. You can click the image to edit it or update it, or you can just click this to remove the image altogether. We also have product categories down here. Now, from one of the other products that I did add earlier, we have 2 other examples of categories here. So uncategorized, long sleeve shirt. Now we'll just go ahead and add hiking shoe, just as one of the categories. Very specific, but still, we can go ahead and add that in there. We also have things like our product tags. Now, product tags aren't necessary to use. They can be used, but I don't think that they're necessary to use. It doesn't necessarily influence the way that your product is sold or affect how many any purchases you'll get from your product, so it's not necessary to add. It's similar to the product short description. It is supplementary information, and I wouldn't worry about it too much. And a lot of this other stuff, the same thing applies. The channel visibility can be helpful for displaying your product and getting them listed on Google, so you can set that up, and it does help. It can help a bit with getting your product out there. So let's go ahead, and now we can go ahead and enter here, which publishes the product. If you're not really ready to do so, you don't need to, but I am trying to display the permalink here, so you do get a link to your product after publishing it, so it shows you can click this product and it'll take you to that. But before we go ahead and look at that, let's look at some of the information we have down here. So before we move on to the variable product, we're going to look at the simple product. We have two other types here that we're not going to get into within this video today, but for the simple product, we have now simple products essentially are products that have a short amount of attributes. They're very briefly provided with attributes, and it doesn't pertain to a lot of details. So you'll ultimately not have variations of this product. It's typically sold in one type without different variations. So we can go ahead and, with that notion, carry on. So here we have the general information, which typically pertains to the prices of the items as well as the sale prices of the items. So let's say we want the product to be sold at a standard flat rate of $55, and then our sale price, we'll sell it for $30. So we can schedule a sale depending on how many days you would like this item to be sold at this price. So for example, maybe we have a holiday coming up from the 20th to the 23rd, so we have a 3-day sale period where the $55 will be dropped to the $30. Now, if you're concerned in changing the currency type, we can go ahead and go to the left-hand menu here, head to WooCommerce, and go to the settings option, which takes us to a bunch of different settings within WooCommerce that we can change and edit. So here we have the currency of the US dollar, which we'll be using for this video. We also have a variety of other options here that you can select, such as the CFA, VUV. It just ultimately depends on what currency that you want to employ for your shop, and obviously depending on where you're located at. You have different tax rates that can automatically be calculated and configured during checkout, coupons, and then calculate coupon discounts sequentially. So if you're applying multiple coupons, you can apply the first coupon to full price and the second to the discounted price, etc. So a lot of this has descriptions here that you can read, so it's very simplistic to understand. We're not going to be getting into any of that today, but it is there if you do need to change it. So inventory wise, a lot of this can be very specific and ultimately depends on your preferences or your circumstances. Tracking the stock for quantity here, like this option, will mainly be used by bigger, larger companies. It's not a necessity. But what is ultimately something that you should be using is the SKU, which is a distinct identifier for your product. So because this is our first product, we're going to give it 0001. And you can use some of this other stuff. So let's say we have 10 of these, and we can allow back orders here, so notifying the customer we're allowing them. And then here, our threshold. So let's say we want to get a notification when we reach 2, so when we're low on orders. Now, for this purpose, we're not going to be using that, but it is there depending on how large your business is or what ultimately works for you. So let's go ahead to the shipping. This isn't necessarily needed. You can use this if you'd like. The shipping stuff can get a little specific. We can put the weight of our product in pounds. We can put the dimensions in. This would be more helpful for products where where you need this specific kind of information. For this purpose, we're not going to be doing that. We have linked product. These are also very useful. So the upsell products, essentially, because we don't have any other products right now, we can't really do that. But the upsells essentially suggest different products that would be more profitable based on what the customer is buying currently. And then the cross sells are products that are going to be sold or suggested within the cart. Now, attributes here, this is an important thing. We are doing apparel or attire items, so we do want to be adding this. So, for example, let's say we want to add the material, which we said was rugged suede and breathable mesh. So we can put that in, and we can save that as an attribute, which will be visible on the product page. We can save that, and you can add as many attributes as you'd like, or add existing attributes. We also have purchase notes, so these are going to be sent to the customer based on after they buy it, so it'll be emailed to them. You can enable reviews as well of the product. So again, this isn't necessary, but can be helpful to you. And then these are just recommended extensions. These can be expensive and aren't necessarily super necessary or needed unless you do want to. They're not paramount by any means. So yeah, we can go ahead and publish this now that we have all of that on there, and we can go ahead and view here. We can see that we have our shoe displayed on our shop here. So we have the hiking shoe, hiking shoe 1. Obviously, this is a little bit messed up just because it's an example. So you can zoom in on the image here, which is nice. It'll display when it's on sale. We can see that the sale price currently is being sold because today is the 20th, and it will be displayed like this for 3 days. We can see that we have the short product description that is displayed with the price of the item. We can buy how many we want depending on the stock. This is the first item. It's under the hiking shoe category. There's additional information, right? These are going to be where your attributes come in. You have your reviews. So if I want to review this, you can put whatever you want in. And then the description, just as I said, was just the product description that we entered in. So this looks great. This is perfect. And this is a good example as to what this will look like. So let's go ahead and add a new product. All right, so welcome back. Let's go to categories to start. Category, let's go ahead and do long sleeve shirt. All right, and now we can go ahead and add that category. So that'll be a parent category, which we can use. We can go to our attributes as well, and we'll add color as an attribute to this variable product. And as I was saying, the variable products often are the ones that have more variables. We can add size as well here. So we'll have color and size as 2 attributes. We have color and we have size, and we can configure each of those individual attributes by adding different sub colors. So for the color here, we can do black as a sub attribute. So configure the item. We can do red. We can also do brown. Let's put that in. So now we have 3 different attributes. Sub attributes to color, right? So black, brown, and red. We can also do the same thing for size. So if you want different sizes for these shirts, we do small, add that, and we can also do medium, and then we can do large as well. So put that in. So now we can have 3 different sub attributes, and you can order them here with these little boxes on the side. You can move those around, so you can have small, medium, and large sequentially. So we can go back to our categories, to the variable product, and see that we have the long sleeve shirt as a category, and now we can go ahead and add the new product here. Right? So we can go, and we can see that we just have an example of a shirt here. So we can go ahead and just type in that name for the shirt just as an example. We'll just use that. And then we can scroll down. We can find the About This Item section here. So this is essentially just a product description. You can go ahead and copy that just for the sake of this video and paste that into the product description. So just as a simple product, that'll essentially be underneath. right? We have the product short description, so that's the shorter description that goes with the price of the item. So we'll just use the product details as an example here. Like I said, not necessary, but to exemplify it, we'll throw it in there. So we can change the product now to the variable product right here instead of the simple product like we did last time. And we can go ahead and go to the attributes and go to add existing. And because we added those earlier, you can see we can just select those, right? We can go ahead and add another one size, both the size and the color can go in there. And you can select any of these values here, right? Because we already entered in those sub attributes, so we can just throw those in, right? Black, brown, and red. And then we have small, medium, and then large, right? So it makes it easier to do those before because we can just throw them in here when doing the products. So we can go ahead and use that for the variations, right? We want to make sure those boxes are checked, make sure they're visible on the product page, and then we can go ahead and save the attributes there. Right? So now that that's all set, let's go to the variations and generate variations. So this is essentially just going to provide us, click OK here, and then this is essentially going to provide us with a variety of different matches, right? Because we had those sub attributes, so we can have a black small shirt, black medium shirt, black large shirt, brown small, etc., etc. So it'll do that for us, right? And you can update the image here, right? So let's just go ahead and grab the red shirt image, the black shirt image, and let's get that brown shirt image in there, right? So we can have 3 different color variations, and for each one, we can go ahead and just throw that in there, right? So we also have the price that's listed here, so we'll just use that for the variation price, right? Sometimes you're going to have different, whether it's a larger size, it might cost more. That's why we have that variation price there. Let's go ahead and grab this. So it will change, right? The price may change depending on the variations, but for this case, we're going to set these mostly the same here. Just finish that up, right? $29.99. There we go. And we can go ahead and do that for the rest of them. It's a little bit of a lengthy process, just throwing these all in, matching up these variations here. Have all of these done. We have our prices, we have our images. You can manage the stock as well. Like I said, this is normally going to be for larger businesses, depending if you have a larger stock. So if we'll just do this like an example like we did for the simple product, we'll set that to 10. We'll just do that for each of these here, right? We'll set the stock to 10. Go ahead and do that for each of them, right? Because we just want to provide an example as to what this actually does, right? And now we can go ahead and go to the set product that we did for the simple product, right? Go ahead and set that. We're going to grab the black, set the product image, okay, and product categories, right? We did this earlier when we went to the category section. We have long sleeve shirt, right? Same as what we did for the hiking shoe. We're just categorizing these products, and then we can go ahead and preview, right? I published it last time. You don't necessarily have to publish it, but you can preview the product here, which is a nice way of doing it without publishing to your site. See what it looks like. So see, we can zoom in on the image like we did last time. We have the full name right here. We have the price accompanied with the product details. When we scroll down, we can go ahead and look at the product description that we added. All right, so we have that all there, and then we have our variations, right? Which is one of the biggest things with the variable products is we have our attributes. So we can do a brown shirt. So select it, it changes to the different image. So that's probably the biggest difference between the simple and the variable, right? We can see that we have our images here for the gallery, right? We have the brown, the black, and the red. So the product gallery, as I said, is just going to be mainly for adding larger images, larger groups of images for here. So we're just going to go ahead and throw these in to the gallery, just like so. Preview it again. Right. Go. should update, and now you can see that it has a image gallery, so we can see all of those images there, right? We have the black, we have the brown, and the black again. So that is because of the product image there. That's why it's duplicating. We can go ahead and publish that now. We go to all of our products, so we can see it right there. We can see it's in stock. It's for $30. We can see when it was published, right, and all of that information. And thanks for watching.